Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Good afternoon, Jeffrey Combs, President and Founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Welcome to Facebook Live. It is Tuesday, Facebook Live, the first Tuesday of February 2024. It is February 6th. Good afternoon, everyone. I am going to be covering today leadership, mentoring, and being a leader grower. Being a leader grower. I was a leader in high school, is in sports and in Little League, and have been a leader in many areas of my life. However, never really understood leadership or read books on it until 1995. I read my first John Maxwell book, Developing the Leader Within You and Developing the Leaders Around You. This was before Barnes & Noble bookstores were available. I went to a Walden bookstore, and those are my first two books on leadership. One of my teammates in my Herbalife business suggested that I buy these two books by John Maxwell, and those were the first two books that I owned on leadership. Now, at the time, I was listening to Napoleon Hill, I was listening to Jim Rohn, I was listening to a lot of the network marketing content, I was listening to Burke Hedges, who stole the American dream on VHS, and I was a voracious reader early in my entrepreneurial career, and I'm one of those people that is a natural-born leader. Not everyone is a leader, but everyone has leadership abilities within them. I was captains of sports teams and situations as of that. And however, as I graduated from high school, my self-esteem kept going down, further down, and I lost my ability to lead myself. And leadership begins with I, self. Self is, with the capital S, is the higher self. The lower self is doubt. And if you doubt yourself, it'll affect your ability to lead. So leaders lead by example. That's the core principle of leadership. And if your example is not exemplary, then you'd have to take a good look at your ability to lead. So you can lead from the front, you can lead from the back. There are many ways that you can lead. But most importantly, that's me, am leading by example. And it's important that you understand that not everyone is leadership quality. Not everyone has the ability to follow the leader. There will be people who will check out. They will abandon ship. They will quit. They will not be committed. And you're not responsible for other people's success. You're responsible for yours. You are responsible for your word because your word is law. And then there are people who are seeking your leadership. And those are the people that you devote the energy to. I learned early in my career in leadership is devote your time and devote your energy where it is deserved, not where it's needed. Not everyone is seeking your leadership ability. Many people will set you up to fail them. Many people aren't seeking leadership. Many people are addicted to disappointment. There are people who are narcissistic. There are people who are perpetrators and violators. Then there's the great people who you can cultivate and develop a culture and a team, whether it's in real estate, insurance, whether it's in network marketing, direct sales, your own small business, whatever it is, you can lead. You can also lead your household. You can lead your children. You can lead in Boy Scouts. You can lead in volunteering. You can be a leader. You can be a leader in a 12-step program. I mean, there's multitudes of situations. And so there's leadership, and then there's being a leader grower. So is the way you're living exemplary? Is it average, or is it based on anxiety, fear, and doubt? So if you have exceptional habits, if you have a system, if you have a routine, if you have a method, and if your leadership style is simple, there's a higher probability you can duplicate. One of my clients sent me a picture today. Josh Waxman, who some of you know, sent me a picture that two of his students in his office were both reading the book Letting Go by David Hawkins. Now, I introduced that book to Josh back in 2014. I was the person who introduced David Hawkins to Josh. And so as fate would have it, he sent that picture to me today. I want to recognize some exceptional people today. These are developing leaders. I want to say hello to Jessica, definitely a leader. Henry, definitely a leader in his own business. Chris Bowen, rock star sales professional leader. Kellyanne, definitely a leader. Matt Smith, unequivocally a leader. A lot of content Matt Smith has spent a lot of time in the 12-step programs, a lot of time in NLP, and Matt coached with me for a consecutive 6-year period. I want to say hello to John Toth. John and I go back a long way. Peter Paps, good to see you this afternoon. Good to see all of you here this afternoon. Topic is leadership, leader grower, mentoring, and attracting mentees. Now, mentorship, I'm just going to touch on it a little here early in the call. Mentorship is when it's a next level leadership. It's when you're actually spending quality time with people. So there are clients that I have developed bonds and relationships with, that I have done events with. Diane Hunt, who Matt Smith has attended many events with me, and Matt has been to many events where Diane was the host. Diane hosted multiple events with me, and I spent quality time taking Diane to dinner, and sometimes her teams. Matt also I took to dinner over the times. This is where I would devote extra time to people who deserved the mentoring. As I developed cultures and businesses and teams in the thousands, I would start to create a mastermind alliance. That goes directly back to the Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich. And a mastermind alliance or one of more of like mind coming together for a common cause. So I would develop my core leadership group around 1, 3, 5, and 7. In 1996, I was $100,000 in credit card debt, and I attracted a woman who was working in a health club, and she was my first leader in this new business. And she had leadership ability, and she had previous leadership skills. She was from Alaska. She was from Wasilla, Alaska. She was selling health club memberships in a health club where I was working out 7 days a week while I was financially challenged. And I recruited her for my business at the time, and she was the first woman that I ever recruited that became a 6-figure income earner. And then she attracted another woman who became a 7-figure income earner, and that was one whole leg of my business, and that came from this one woman, single mom, 35 years old, who'd been through a lot of challenges. Her car was about to get repossessed. Her house was in foreclosure. She was selling health club memberships after a failed business venture, and I began to mentor her, and she became my first mentee that actually broke through, the first female that I ever mentored that broke through. I had one other young guy that I had enrolled out of the newspaper in the Oakland Tribune in 1991. He was a rock star. He had a group of young people. I mentored him, but he actually was more advanced than I was at the time. I mean, he turned me on to a lot of books, a lot of content. He had been in A.L. Williams, the insurance company, when he was 17 years old, and he introduced me to a lot of content that became the fundamental foundation of my core leadership back in the day. He's also the person who introduced me to John Maxwell in 1995. So the leaders lead by example, and leaders are leaders. So these are the first 2 points on my syllabus. Diane, I just talked about you. Diane Hunt has joined me on Facebook Live here today. Diane hired me in 2014. Matt Smith hired me in 2016. They were both on the call. David Harris hired me in 2010. These are all my long-term clients. Colleen Olitsky is on today's Facebook Live. Colleen hired me in 2015. Now, every one of these people I mentioned, I've taken them to dinner. Every single one of these people, I went to dinner and spent extra mentoring time with them. And these are people who all have been very integral in my business. That's Diane Hunt, Matt Smith, Colleen Olitsky, and David Harris. All 4 of them are on today's Facebook Live. And Kellyanne, Diane is saying hello to you. I know that you two had great. And Diane, I was just telling them that you hosted over 20 events for me over a 4-year period. And we started to really develop that trust, that leadership quotient, that bond, that connection. And that's mentoring. That's when you take the next level of leadership and you do one-on-one time with leaders, or you do 1, 3, 5, and 7. You do mastermind alliances. I chose to do it over dinner in 5-star restaurants with my clients. I went to multiple restaurants I've gone to dinner with Colleen in I went to Maggiano's with Colleen in Orlando. I went to a great restaurant with Colleen in Ponte Vedra, Florida, and Colleen is absolutely crushing her business as a leader grower. I went to Da Benito with Diane multiple times. So I spent that is called mentoring, when you're one-on-one time or small groups of mastermind alliances of one or more coming together for like mind. Now let's look at the reason that many people don't become leaders. People are challenged to be a leader because the anxiety they have about the outcome that hasn't happened. The thought of being a leader can overwhelm certain people. They get in over their head. So David Harris says, you took me to dinner at Beverly Hills, and he drank Louis XIII. Yes, I do remember that. Jim Teacup, my Iowa homeboy. Good to see you this afternoon, Jim. Would love to connect with you. And I remember buying Diane Hunt once upon a time a bottle of Dom Perignon for her team back in the day. I'm a non-alcoholic beverage drinker, but to celebrate the festivities and to celebrate the experience, I once shared that experience with Diane and 3 of her teammates back in the day, 2017, in Union, New Jersey, Da Benito restaurant. Sandra, good to see you this afternoon. And I hope I have the privilege of dining with many of you at one of my events called Millionaire Blueprint. A major component of that experience is we have dinner together on a Friday night in an intimate setting in a restaurant. And we absolutely dominate the restaurant. Ted Hannick has joined me today. Ted, the topic for today is leadership, mentoring, and being a leader grower. So those of you who attend my Millionaire Blueprint with me for coaching clients, a major component of that event is the Friday night dining experience, because that dining experience is breaking bread, bonding with people after a day of breakthrough. And so that's the intimacy. That's where leadership is next level when you move into the mentoring quotient of leadership. Leaders are born and leaders are developed. Every single one of you has leadership ability. It's your responsibility, your ability to respond, to be that leader that people are looking for. On my More Heart Than Talent affirmation cards, that is one of the cards. I am the leader that people are looking for. I wrote that out. So Kellyanne said attending Millionaire Blueprint was a game changer for me. Kellyanne, I am deeply honored to be your coach and friend. And the experience you and I shared at that event was magical. Thank you for being here this afternoon. For those of you who are open to that, my next Millionaire Blueprint is July 19th and 20th this summer. And I have not picked the December date, but I will be hosting 2 of them this year for my coaching clients. I believe every single one of you on this call are a coaching client. I believe every one of you are in that process of becoming one. So thank you for being here. Leadership is influence. Broken down, that's what it means to be an influencer, is to be a leader grower. So as you become a leader, you're leading your household. You're leading yourself. And if you can do those 2 situations, you can definitely lead others. Leadership is not as difficult as you think it is. Leadership is the ability to respond to other people's situations, and you're giving people insight, wisdom, you're there for them. And if you're building a business, your leadership ability to lead your business, and you choose your accountants, you choose your attorneys, you choose your vendors. I mean, this is all part of leadership. You create the structure of your business, you hire the employees, you start to create an employee handbook. You have a system for your employees to produce in. You can't just expect your employees to show up and produce, and you can't just expect your teammates to show up and produce. It's your responsibility to have a leadership system, a simple system that your teammates can follow, those who are willing to follow, a simple system to your employees to follow through on, a simple system to be and stay in a relaxed body. So when my employees understand from me, I will never ask them, David Harris will tell you this, I will never ask them to do what I'm not willing to do. There are times when I'll ask an employee to do something and I'll already have it done by the time they get around to it. And I'm not upset, but if I can do it now, I do it now. I teach my employees and I teach my teammates when I'm building businesses the now habit. Do everything you can now so it doesn't compound. Do everything that you can with two hands so that you can be able to be in a relaxed body. Do everything you can in the present so you don't get behind. Now, if you live in an overwhelmed state, you find yourself procrastinating, avoiding, your leadership skills will be challenged because you'll have challenges keeping up with everything. And if you have challenges as a procrastinator, you will not be able to duplicate that. You will attract another like-minded procrastinator to your reality to fulfill your disappointment and frustration. This is why if you're going to commit to be that leader, that you have a system, you have a routine, you're organized, you have discipline, and you're able to impart that wisdom on others. You're able to let people know that I'm here for you. Also, leaders have boundaries. Leadership is not 24/7. Leaders have a life, and leaders live some level of balance with family, God, community, and whatever your obligations are. You're not a 24/7 leader. You're a leader by design, and you're a leader with very clear boundaries. And the reason you have boundaries is that you teach your developing leaders the same situation, that I'm here for you. I will carry 50 bricks, sometimes 51, occasionally 55, but I will not carry your 60 bricks. I'm not a 60-40. I would be 50-50, 55-45 beyond the call of duty, but I'm not responsible for your success. You're responsible for your success. I'm responsible for being your leader. I will lead by example. I will give you the insight, the wisdom. I will share with you my experience. I will do 3-way calls for you. You can count on me to assist you with technical know-how and data, but I am not responsible for your success. Now, that's the boundary that I establish as a leader, as a mentor, and a leader grower. If you are creating a leverage business, who and what you attract will determine your outcome. When you are a leader grower, there's a higher probability that you will create that six-figure income, a possibility of that multiple six-figure income, and the definite of purpose. When you will absolutely not be denied and you are committed, you will be able to create through leverage and your ability to lead and mentor people. There's a higher probability that you will live that good life by your ability to lead. And the more that you're comfortable in a leadership role, the more that you let go of your insecurities, your anxieties, your fear, and your doubt about leading. Who am I to lead someone? Well, you are you and you are free. That's who you are. You're a child of God with tremendous ability, and it's time for you to access that ability that you have buried. That's who you are. You are you and you are free. You have the ability to be your best self. That's who you are. But if you continue to hold on to the payoff, recreate the same situation over and over, to fulfill the same neurochemical craving that you're mostly addicted to, then you will have challenges being your best self. Doubt is the greatest deterrent to your success. Doubt is the greatest deterrent to your leadership ability. Doubt keeps you safe and keeps you disappointed. When you are so done with this, Josh Shea, my young superstar Josh, thank you for showing up here this afternoon. Topic for today's Facebook Live is leadership, mentoring, and becoming a leader grower. Have you been mentored by anyone before? Have you had the ability to spend quality time with people of influence and affluence? In my lifetime, I spent quality time with an elderly gentleman in his 80s named Harold Martin. Harold Martin was the millionaire down the road from me. You may have read the book, The Millionaire Next Door. Well, that's Stanley's books. I read every one of his books, Millionaire Mind, Millionaire Next Door, Marketing with Affluence, Marketing to the Influence. Millionaires Next Door. Stanley wrote Millionaire Mind and Millionaire Next Door. Harold Martin was the millionaire next door for me. Harold was an 80-year-old man when I was 13 years old. Harold was my mentor. He was a bib overall millionaire. Susan, good to see you this afternoon. Always great to see you. Harold Martin was a bib overall millionaire. He had a tire tester in his, and I can't remember the brand of the bib overalls. I used to wear I'll think of it in a second. He wore Red Wing boots and bib overalls. He drove a beat up Chevrolet. He had a collie named Scamp, and I was his 13-year-old mentoree. I swear to God, I put up over 1,000 bales, in the thousands of bales of hay working on his farm. Any of you from the Midwest understand hay baling. Back in the day, I put up over into the thousands of bales of hay. I knew how to stack the hay rack. I walked corn for him. I learned how to drive farm implements. I worked for my grandfather, who was a millionaire. He had all John Deere equipment. He had a construction company. I learned construction skills from him. And then in the restaurant industry, I worked for the legendary Victor Fontana, who, interesting story. If you've ever seen the movie Vegas, Las Vegas, the movie with Joey Pesci, and I have to think of the name of it, De Niro, where they're in Las Vegas, and Sharon Stone. That movie was about one of the owners of that restaurant, and the great Victor Fontana was the manager of that. I was definitely a mentee to him. And so if you had the privilege of being under the wings of a leader and you became a developing leader grower, congratulations. Susan Dampier is on today's Facebook Live. Susan is crushing her business. Diane Hunt is crushing her business. And Colleen Olitsky is crushing her business. There's 3 leaders that are leader growers and have mentees that I have had the privilege of coaching in my 26-year career. Congratulations, ladies. There's no accident that all 3 of you are absolutely in the flow in 2024. And it's been my absolute deepest privilege to be your coach and mentor at different times throughout your career as you are now leaders, leader growers, and you have mentees. Yes, casino, that was it, Kellyanne, thank you. So I'll have to tell you the whole story of how I know the whole history of that whole casino sometime, and I'll tell you that one of my events. So that movie was based on a guy that I used to wait tables on in Kansas City, Missouri, back in the day. And he definitely was someone that I mentored under back in the day. Heather, good to see you. Always good to see you, Heather. Heather is a leader grower, and mentoring. So mentoring, once again, is more one-on-one. It's where you take someone that's really, that has that potential. Tracy Calvert is another leader. The leaders are showing up today, so I'm going to add to that list. There's Heather Vaughan, I've coached for multiple years. Tracy Calvert, I've coached for multiple years. There's 5 of you on today's Facebook Live that I have coached for multiple years that are 6-figure income earners. Congratulations, ladies. Deep appreciation to have you here. Some of you also know Matt Smith, who's on today's Facebook Live. Matt has been with me for many years. David Harris is on today's Facebook Live. David is a leader. David was one of my mentees. David would come out and work for me after he retired from being a multiple 6-figure sales rep in the pharmaceutical industry. David is deep down the rabbit hole patriot like us. He's a man of character and was a great asset to me as a mentee working as a millionaire apprentice for me. In his 60s, after retiring from a career, David also owns my ex-boat, The Producer, and David facilitated as a mentor. He manned that project, the restoration of a 1958 Continental Chris Craft, $150,000 restoration. Then I sold the boat to David because he was the rightful owner. I want to thank all of you for being here today. Deep appreciation for those women that I mentioned. You mean so much to me. I spent so much quality time with you women from 2014 all the way up to 2000, even today. I mean, I've had the privilege of coaching you, and it's amazing to see the teams that you are building. Thank you very much, all of you, for being here. So the affirmation is, I am a leader. I am a leader grower. Have a great afternoon. Breathe, release, and let go.